Hey, Frank, definitely appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Britt McDowell calling in from Radcliffe, Kentucky. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to go ahead and get this training underway. I apologize for the tardiness. Had a couple technical issues. But basically tonight we're going to look at the 5 daily activities that you as a distributor must do if you wish to be a six-figure earner. And, this is one of the things that over time these will compound and yield great results. But one of the things I want to call attention to you is the word daily. That if you want to have a six-figure result, this is not one of those things that you do every day or every other day, or you do half of them. This is something you do every single day, and if you do it every single day, you're going to grow and progress so that you can do that. But first off, I want to go ahead and I know a lot of people that they're concerned with failure. They're concerned with why they can't do something. So I'm going to give you the reasons right here. The top few reasons why people fail in this opportunity, why people fail in network marketing, and if you think about it, these are the reasons why people fail in about 99.9% of the things they attempt. The first is they never start. A lot of people, they get started in Zija, they sign up, but they never start their business. They spend a lot of time getting ready to get ready. They spend a lot of time preparing, but they never do anything. So they never start. 87% of people who start in network marketing never even write their list out. They never look at any of the training things. They think they've got this thing whipped. They've got 2 people that they know are going to do this with them. They're going to make them all kinds of money. And when those 2 people say no, well, obviously then it's because the plan or the program or the company is the problem. It's not the fact that they didn't do anything they were supposed to do. So they quit before they ever start. A lot of people in this business, in this industry, fail because they quit, because they're impatient, because they don't allow the fruits of their labor, the seeds they have sown to grow to maturity, to bear fruit. So they cut themselves short. Also, they're not teachable, they're not coachable. In other words, they ask what's wrong, somebody tells them what's wrong, and then they think, what do they know? They don't listen. And then the last one was my kiss of death for the longest time, was I thought I knew a better way than how it was being done or what was being taught. And because of that, it set my business back a long way. So if you avoid these pitfalls right here, you're going to set yourself up for the opportunity to be successful with this opportunity. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the meat of this training. If you have questions about particular things that are on a slide, if you have questions about things that are like this, by all means, please type them in, and we will address them and answer them as we go. We're here for, I'm here until you are satisfied you have the answers that you need. Appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. So let's get into the meat of this. The Rule of 5, which came from the Max Your Potential event with John C. Maxwell, where he said, you got to do the Rule of 5 if you're going to max your potential, achieve what you possibly can achieve. This is what you got to do. And this is 5 daily activities. So when are these done? And the answer is every day. It's not just done on Mondays. It's not just done on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to be a six-figure earner, financial freedom, impact the lives of tens of thousands of people, it starts by doing these things every day. And if you master these 5 things, what's going to happen is a lot of things will take care of themselves and move forward. So here are the Rule of 5. You can write these down if you're taking notes. This is simply the first, it's broken down into the 5 P's of the Rule of 5 for Zija. Number 1 is their prospect list. You have to revise, reorder, and add to. Now that's a catch-22, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in detail, but you can spend a lot of time on your prospect list, staring at it, reordering it, changing it up. It's not going to make you any more efficient or make you any better at approaching the people on that list. You still have to approach them. You still have to do that. You got to peak, you got to pass, you got to plug, and you got to promote to present. You got to do those things every single day, and that's where the consistency comes into your business. So let's look at the first thing, the prospect list. For many of you that are on this line, that are on this webinar tonight, you're brand new. There's many of you who are tried and true veterans. You're here because you're not where you want to be yet. And I commend you for that, and I commend the new ones for being here too, because you're wanting to get started correctly, taking massive action, and getting things done. So the first one we have there is revise. Why do we revise the prospect list? Simply, you're revising it because you're making changes. There's people that you're moving up. There's people that you're moving down. There's people that for whatever reason, they just need to be moved around. You think you should be adding people to your list every day. You think adding new people every day should be a major goal of you for your list. Whether it be remembering somebody. I was presenting tonight and training, and I stopped and added somebody that I was thinking about to my list. I said, hang on a second, pulled out my list, wrote their name on there, slid it back in the sheet protector, and everybody's like, what were you doing? I said, well, I had to add somebody to my list to do that. Reorder. You have people that drop in and out of witness protection. You have people that come, people that go. So you have to reorder your list. You have to put who's hot on top and who's not on the bottom. If you have someone that says, hey, I'm not interested right now, that's where you make that move. You transition them. But you got to keep your list working and moving because, that's the pulse. If you've got somebody that's ready for a sample or you got somebody that's ready for the next follow-up three-way call, they need to be at the top of the list. If you got somebody that you haven't exposed anything at all, maybe if you're going for completely brand new exposures, you have some ways to work and revise and to keep that list fresh. But you got to keep it with you. It's got to be on paper. The list is your lifeblood. Your list is, that is your business. So if your list is in your head, that's where your paycheck will be. And make sure you do that. Now, Jan, are y'all not hearing anything at all? Because I'm on the phone. So, anyhow, I'm not sure what the technical difficulties are there because I'm mic'd up with a headset. So, okay, great. Sorry about that, guys. So the number should be in the email if you need to call in if you're not getting a proper internet connection. All right, so the prospect list, we're going to look at this is a people business. That is the people are the engine of your multi-level money machine, of your income generator. The fuel the fuel is the products, but you got to have people there to do that. So when it comes to classifying your prospect list, coming up with your people, what you simply have to do, the only disqualifier that you have is if they're dead. Or if they're a distributor in your business already. So if you're brand new, you don't have anybody that's disqualified. If they've got a pulse and a phone number, they're a prospect. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to qualify them, that we're not going to do some sorting out. But but never forget that every dud knows a stud. My sponsor, has had some success in the business, but Rodney Arms says that my sponsor knew a stud when my sponsor turned out to be a dud. In his opinion. So, you got those things come there, it's all fun and games to go with that, but you want to make sure that you have everything that you need, people-wise, because, you want to keep adding people to this. You want to have plenty of people to go with this. So let's go on to the next slide here. Now, when it comes to your prospect list, we're going to break it down into 4 categories. Before I get to the 4 categories, this is something that's very important. I have people tell me all the time, well, Brenton, I've talked to everybody I know, and nobody's interested. Well, we'll talk about the technical difficulty or the technical errors that you've made by what you've already said. But let's break this down real quick. There's 2 types of people when it comes to what people know. The average person knows 3,000 to 4,000 people by first name. Okay, 3,000 to 4,000 people is what they know. They said even the most extreme introvert will impact 10,000 people in their lifetime. So realistically, when people say I've talked to everybody I know, they're handing you a line of crap. And this is what they're saying. They're saying, Brenton, I've talked to everybody that I know that I'm comfortable talking to about this business, this opportunity, this product, or this service. They're not saying I've talked to everybody that they know. They're saying they've talked to everybody that they're comfortable with talking to. And that's an error, and that's a problem. And the problem comes about very simply because you have to be willing to share what you're doing with anybody, anytime, any place. If you really intend to take this thing to the next level, it's not going to happen if you pre-qualify the people that you know and say, well, everything looks good for them, or well, they don't, they wouldn't be interested in this. They did a network marketing company before and it didn't work out. You can't make the judgment of what someone's going to think about this business for them. Everybody's a blank slate. That's why you have to approach them correctly, and that's why you have to approach them if you want to be successful. Because I'm telling you, there's a ton of people that never get approached for a network marketing company that are praying for an opportunity, and the first person that approaches them, it might be a crappy company or not, they jump on it with both feet because it's the best thing they've been approached with. And you're sitting there thinking, well, man, I wish I'd have known they were into network marketing. I'd have prospected them. Well, but you pre-qualified and you prejudged them. So, you got to take this to the masses. You got to take it to, you can't be concerned with anybody. With not to, say, well, make decisions for people. Give them the information. Let them make their decision and go. Now, there's 4 types of people. There's 4 categories for your list. All right, and these are what you got to look at, and this is what you got to think about. Number 1, the first category is what I call hustlers. These are people that are always looking for a deal. These are people that are always looking to make money. They maybe have multiple businesses. They may have multiple jobs. They're all the time busy. They're on the go. They're doing whatever they can to make money. That's somebody that has, that's somebody that has a nose for work. That's somebody that, you need in your business. So the first category, you want to think about the people that that are doing that. Who do you know that every time they touch something, they have success with it or they make money doing it? The second category is heroes. Who do you know that has that reputation of being successful, that have that reputation of being hardworking, they have that reputation of influence, that people do what they do, that people give, they have a lot of credibility, that basically people look up to. Who do you have in your network that falls into that category? The third category is very simply, that's humanitarians. These are servant leaders. Who do you know? This is the person that they get to church at 8 o'clock. They drive the church bus around. They run the bus route till 10 o'clock. They open the doors. They sit. They greet people at 10:15 for service. Then at 11 o'clock, at 11:30 when service is over, they're heading up this committee. They're leading this party. They're driving the bus to do this. These are people that show their talents and their dedication to people. They are servant leaders. They're always involved. If the community's having a parade, they chair the community. They chair the committee. If there's a public service to be done, they are serving others and they're doing it. Why do you want people like that in your business? It's simple. They know how to work with other people. They know how to get things done. They know how to build networks. They know how to serve others. Now, this number 4 is the hardest one to find. It's the unicorn of the people on your list. And here's why. Because the number 4 will show up originally. The number 4, when you first see it for the first time, that person, they're going to fall into category 1, 2, or 3. Because the have-tos are people that this business, they got to have this business to save their home. They got to have this business to save a business. They got to have this business to make the ends meet. They have to do this business, and that's their ticket to success and their ticket for getting things done. Now, what's interesting about the have-tos is they hide. They might be in the humanitarian category. They might be a hero. They might be a hustler. But the have-tos are the ones that we're looking for, because when they're presented with this opportunity, this is something they've been praying for. This is how they're going to do it. An example of a have-to might be a doctor. There's a doctor, he's making $20,000 a month with his practice. All of a sudden, he's made some poor financial choices. A business that he's gotten in went bad, and then he has to send a kid to school, and he's trying and scratching and figuring out how he can make an extra $2,000 a month to cover his losses and then to cover these new expenses. And here's what happens. Because of that situation, he's making $20,000 a month. He needs $2,000, but somebody might not approach him about this business. But he's a have to, because if he doesn't figure out a way to make that $2,000 a month extra, he's in trouble, because guess what? He's working 90 hours a week already. He doesn't have any more hours to work. He can't pick up another shift at the ER because he has no time to do it. So he's in a situation where he has to do something. He has to do something else. He has to find that stream of income. He has to find that. And that's somebody where a leveraged opportunity like this would be priceless for. So, the have-tos are hard to find, but when you find them, they're the ones that, they knuckle down, they buy into the system, and they don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. And so, we all want to find a have-to. Everybody I've ever known in this business that's had a large amount of success has had it because they were in a have-to situation. Robbie Davis was one payment away. It was basically one set of payments away from foreclosure and the bankruptcy. Chris Estes had to find a way to keep his wife home to take care of his baby girl. The list goes on and on and on. Jason Keltner, for example. Keltner had been fired from his fourth teaching job in 4 years, hadn't been tenured, and wasn't going to get hired anywhere else. And he was a Builder 500, and he decided to make Zija his primary goal. So, you look at those things, you look at people like that, they have a hunger, they have a desire, and they're going to push this thing like you wouldn't believe. All right. That's the first of the prospect list. That's first. Now, here we go. The second thing you have to do every day is you have to peak people. You have to peak people every day. You can't just prospect on even days of the week. You can't just prospect on every other day. You can't just prospect 3 days a week and then follow up 3 days. You've got to do this every day. This is a consistency factor. And I tell you right now, based on the activity level, based on the calls, I can tell you the average people on our team peak about 5 people a month. That's all. They talk to 5 people a month. Now, let's look at the numbers. Jim Rohn says if you talk to 10, you get 1. And so if you talk to 2 people a day and you only do it 5 days a week, that's 40 people a month. That means you're going to be enrolling 4 people a month. I can tell you we don't have anybody on our team who enrolls 4 people a month. And so that tells me that the numbers and the activities are not consistent. If you know that you need to make $1,000, and you have to do that by enrolling 2 or enrolling 10 Builder 1s, then you've got to talk to 100 people, period. That's the numbers. And that should be reassuring to you, because when you know the numbers, it then boils down to you doing the activities to get the results. There's no variables in this business, guys. The rules are the rules, the stats are the stats. The only variable to your success in this business is you and what you're willing to do. So when it comes to piquing that curiosity, we want to make sure that that we're not talking. We don't talk about Zija. We just simply listen to people and ask them if they're open to information. I ask questions. Do you value your health? If you can make extra income, would that benefit your family? Would you be open to information that help you do both of those things? I heard you talking about that your knee hurts because of arthritis. Would you be open to some information about something that might help? You have to ask questions, and then after you ask them if they're open and they say yes, then you got to ask them, well, when can you look at it? You got to figure out. You got to start narrowing down from the peak. When we make the pass, we got to narrow down and set the time to go with it. But peaking is an art. You're not going to be good at it when you start, but if you practice and you listen, you will get better. But the worst thing that you can do is be the primary source of information and try to talk or convince people even into looking. So you want to make sure that when it comes to peaking, that you're not talking, you're not telling. You want to make sure that you're telling somebody else's story. Don't talk about your story. Don't talk about your product story. Don't talk about how much money you've made, how much you're not, or don't talk about how much money you're going to make. If you talk about yourself, you open yourself up for hard questions. Well, Jan, you're talking about what you're doing with Zija. Well, how much money have you made? Well, you may not have made as much as you want. But if you're telling Kevin Ray's story, who's a 6-figure earner in this business, and they go, well, I don't believe that, then Jan can say, well, hang on a second. You don't believe that? How about I let you talk to Kevin Ray and you can find out for yourself? And then you plug in Kevin Ray. when you're talking about yourself, which nobody wants to hear you talk about you, they only want to talk about themselves, they don't want to hear that. So if you talk about other people, tell other people's stories, you set yourself up for a whole lot less headaches, heartaches, and burdens and things to come with that, and issues that you'll have to deal with. Now, when we're peeking, we're listening, we're seeing where people are, we're meeting them where they're at. And what we want to do after we peek is when we're going to make the pass. That's where we're going to pass them to information. My favorite thing when it comes to peeking and passing, I like to tell people is, thou shall not be the tool. It is not your job to be the primary source of information. It is not your job to convince people to look at this. We have information. Either they're open or they're not. And if they're not, that's okay, and you can tell them that. And say, hey, if you're not open, that's okay. It's cool. If it's not for you, that's good. When we pass somebody to information, we want to make sure that that we're telling them it's a little chunk. We're just, especially that first exposure, we're doing this in little bitty pieces. The old saying is, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is very careful. The answer is very simple. It's bite by bite. You eat it a bite at a time. And so because of that, we want to feed them little bits of information, and then we'll see where they end up. We'll see what they're into. We'll see what they're thinking as we go. But when we pass them the information, we want to make sure we have a time set to follow up. We want to make sure that we booked a meeting for a meeting. So if I pass somebody to a wellness and success newsletter, I may ask them to read a very specific article. Or if I pass them to a Success from Home magazine, I may want them to read a very specific article. I want them to read Luke Kearney's story. I want them to read Greg Bibb's story. I want them to read Moringa Olafera. I want to do those things so it's very specific, so that way they know what they're looking at. We know how to follow up with them. We know how to get them plugged in, to what to look at and what to come from. Now, also when we pass, we're going to be very specific. A diamond lifestyle video. ExcellenceElite.com videos 1 and 3, videos 1 and 2, videos 2 and 3. You have to know your resources you have available, and so you need to invest a little bit of time and do that. If you haven't gotten on ExcellenceElite.com and kicked around a little bit and seen what was there, you need to do that, because by simply doing that, you're going to allow yourself, you're going to know the resources that you have, and then it's a matter of passing them on there. Now, you're going to pass people multiple times because, you're going to peek, pass, follow up, pass, follow up, pass, follow up, pass, follow up until they've got enough information to make a decision. If they say no, we move them down the list and we come back to them in 30, 60, 90 days. Everybody's life changes every 90 days, but we're going to peek, pass, plug, peek, pass, plug, then we're going to pass, plug, pass, plug until they get to that information, they get what they need to go from there. Now, when it comes to the plug, the fortune's in the follow-up. This is the moneymaker. This is where people get involved, is when they're informed, they get their questions answered, and they're ready to make a decision. That's what we do. We don't pressure people, but we inform them so they can make the decision that's best for them. Now, here's something very careful. Never follow up in person. Always follow up over the phone, because you can't bring somebody in onto a three-way call if you're following up in person. If you're following up in person, you make them think that it's like you're being a door-to-door salesman or something. So do this from the convenience of your home. Let them do it from the convenience of their home, from their car, from whatever they've got, wherever they are. But you want to make sure that they know and that you're showing them this is a phone-based business. Now, when we're getting ready to plug in, we're going to plug your prospect into somebody they got something in common with. You want them, somebody that's had more experience in the business than you, has a great story. Simply hear that. You want your prospect to hear that story, and then we want them to be able to ask questions and get their questions answered. Now, when you've set, you know that you're following up at 8 o'clock. You've got your expert lined up. You call. We're going to ask when we do the plug. Did you look at the information? What did you like best? What do you want to know more about? You can specifically see that script and what to do on ExcellenceElite.com training tab. There's prospecting by the numbers. It goes right there with it. Now, when we're plugging, we want to ask, we dictate the answers that we get. We dictate the conversation by the questions we ask. If I say, hey, did you look at the information? There's only two possible answers to that question. Yes or no. What did you like best? They've got to be positive. There's only two possible areas that it can go in. Number one is product. I like the product. I like Moringa. I want to know more about that. Or I like the business. I want to know how you make money. And then finally, what do you want to know more about? They either want to know more about the business or they want to know more about the product. So by sticking to those questions, we dictate where the conversation goes. And when they ask that first question, that's when we're going to be able to bring in our expert to answer that. And that's where we're going to properly edify our expert. It's very simple. If I've got somebody on the phone, I've got Marcus Likes on the phone, and I'm following up with him. I'm gonna plug him into Dexter Williams. Dexter's going to answer the questions for me. Marcus, what'd you like best? What do you want to know more about? And he said, I want to know more about the business. Marcus, that's a great question. Hang on a second. Let me get that answer for you. And then Marcus, I have a business partner of mine on the phone. He's somebody that I've got a lot of respect for. He's doing amazing things in his business. And you asked me a question I wasn't sure on, so I wanted to make sure I got you the best answer possible. I have Mr. Dexter Williams on the phone. He's a gold-level executive out of Jackson, Tennessee. Mr. Williams, the call is yours. I'm going to be very professional. I'm going to properly edify and introduce him. He's going to return that favor. And once you turn the call over to your expert, you zip the lip, throw the key away. You do not speak unless somebody asks you a direct question. Put it on speaker. Go work the crossword puzzle. Put the kids to bed. Wash dishes. Do whatever you got to do. But let your expert do the heavy lifting and build your business for you. Now, as the plug goes through and gets done, that's when you're going to invite them to get started, find out what they need to know more about. Hopefully your upline person, your expert, asks that question. But if not, then we're going to promote them into a presentation, promote them to the next big thing. We have to be master promoters. We have to be excited. The next opportunity for them to get in front of the information may be a conference call. It may be a webinar. It may be a recorded webinar from the website. It might be a chance to come to an in-home meeting, or it might be a big event like a Super Saturday where somebody like Terry Birdsong, Rodney Arms, Chris S., somebody's coming in to do a teaching, to do an opportunity presentation and training, or it might be or it might be a big event like what's coming up with the Compound Your Momentum coming up in June. It doesn't matter, but we have to be masters to promote them when they're interested to that next event. We have to promote them to the next opportunity, the next presentation, to be there, to see the information that's there, and go with it. And so by mastering these five, by mastering the preparation of our list, by mastering how to peak, how to pass, how to plug, and then how to promote, what we're doing is we're going to build a skill set that will, over the course of time, dictated by how much action we take, that will lead to a six-figure residual income. Now think about that. What would it be like to know that, that in 6 months from now that you have more money coming in from Zija than you do from your JOB, and you have options to decide if you're going to keep working or not, to decide how you're going to spend your time, to be liberated and to be free. And what you have to understand and what you've got to figure out is your desire for that, your desire to help people, your desire to better the lives of others. Is that great enough to help you overcome your fear, your desire to remain in your comfort zone, and basically to overcome the internal barriers that you have that you're using to hold yourself back? And so, by mastery of those simple skill sets, and applying them over time, numerous times, over time, over and over and over again, you're going to be able to build the skill set and to build the organization that will help you become one of the shining stars in all of network marketing. And the cool part about this business is that success can happen to anybody that chooses to work for it and go after it. And that's what I love, and that's what I love about this. You know, I'm not anything special. Kevin Ray's not special. Terry Birdsong's not special. Chris Estes, Rodney Arms, Jason Keltner, D. Hutchins, Barry Dalton, all those guys, they're all pretty average, normal guys. Melanie Greeno, Jessica Phillips, Pat Anderson, they're all pretty normal ladies. But they just, but they have been relentless in the pursuit of their desires, in the pursuit of their dreams, in the pursuit of their passion, and they see this opportunity as the vehicle that gets them there, and they have a whatever it takes attitude of being willing to do whatever it takes to get things done in that manner so that they can find that success. So I hope this has been useful. I hope it's been beneficial. If you have any specific questions on anything, let me know. But the key to this business is simple. It's doing the right things at the right time, consistently applied over time to equal big results. There's a whole bunch of little things that add up to make some very, very, very big results. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions. If you do, I'll be happy to answer them over here in this catalog or in the chat box. You type it in and I'll answer it, and then we'll go from there. Anybody have any questions?